Imagine waking up tomorrow morning. You check your bank app, and the numbers are there. Your savings, your checking, your retirement fund. It all looks normal. You walk to the coffee shop, order your usual, and tap your card. Declined. You try again. Declined. You pull out cash, a $20 bill. The barista looks at it, sighs, and points to a hastily written sign taped to the register. Cash no longer accepted. Gold or barter only. It sounds like fiction. It sounds like a scene from a dystopian movie. But in 1923, Germany, this was a Tuesday. In 1789, France, this was reality. In 33 AD Rome, this was the panic that brought the world's greatest empire to its knees. We like to think that money is real, that debt is a contract, that if we work hard and save, our future is secure. But history tells a different story, a darker story. For the last 2,000 years, civilization has hit a specific mathematical wall 5 separate times. It is a cycle of arrogance, greed, and inevitable destruction. We call it the Great Reset. It doesn't fix the economy. It wipes the slate clean by destroying the wealth of the middle class. Right now, the global debt clock is ticking past $300 trillion. We aren't approaching the cycle. We are deep inside it. The scariest part? Most people won't realize they've lost everything until the moment they try to spend it. Today, I'm going to show you the 6-stage death spiral that has destroyed 5 civilizations before us. I'm going to prove to you that we are currently living in stage 4. And I'm going to tell you exactly what stage 6 looks like, so you aren't the one standing at the counter with a pocket full of worthless paper. Before we look at the timeline, you have to understand the engine driving this machine. It's not politics. It's not policy. It is cold, hard arithmetic. An economy is simple. We make things, production, and we buy things, consumption. Debt is just a way to pull consumption forward. When you borrow money, you are essentially stealing from your future self to enjoy life today. That's fine in small doses. But when a government does it, they are stealing from generations of future citizens. Here is the fatal flaw in our current system: exponential compounding. Our economy grows linearly, maybe 2% or 3% a year if we're lucky. But debt grows exponentially due to compound interest. Think of it like a race. The runner representing economic growth is jogging at a steady pace. The runner representing debt started slow, but is now sprinting at Usain Bolt speeds. Eventually, the debt runner laps the growth runner. When the debt becomes so large that the interest payments alone are bigger than the entire growth of the economy, you have entered a Ponzi state. You are borrowing money just to pay the interest on the money you borrowed yesterday. This isn't a theory. This is where we are. The U.S. interest bill is hitting $1 trillion a year. That is unsustainable. And when things are unsustainable, they stop. The only question is, how do they stop? History gives us the roadmap. Let's walk through the 6 stages of the death spiral. Every collapse starts with a party. Stage 1 is the golden age. Credit becomes cheap. Money is easy to get. Everyone feels rich. In ancient Rome, around 10 AD, the banks opened the floodgates. If you wanted to build a villa, throw a game, or buy a vineyard, you got a loan. The money flowed, and Rome looked magnificent. Marble statues, new roads, endless feasts. In the modern West, this was the period from 1980 to 2008. We invented credit cards, home equity lines, and student loans. We bought bigger houses, newer cars, and flatter TVs. But we didn't buy them with wealth. We bought them with debt. The tragedy of stage 1 is that it feels like success. Politicians take credit for the booming economy. Stock markets hit all-time highs. But it's a hallucination. You aren't generating wealth. You are eating your seed corn. You are feeling the warmth of burning your own house down to stay warm. Then comes stage 2, the hangover. Economists have found a magic number in history: 250%. When a civilization's total debt exceeds 250% of its total economic output, GDP, the drag becomes too heavy. Imagine trying to run a marathon while carrying a backpack that weighs 2.5 times your body weight. You don't just slow down, your knees buckle. In 1780s France, the French crown had borrowed so much to fund wars, including the American Revolution, that they hit this wall. They tried to tax the peasants more, but you can't squeeze blood from a stone. In 2008, the world hit this wall. The global financial crisis was nature's way of saying, "You are carrying too much." But what did we do? Did we pay it down? Did we tighten our belts? No. We doubled down. Central banks printed trillions to patch the cracks in the dam. We treated a debt crisis with more debt. Today, global debt is over 330% of GDP. In the US, if you include unfunded liabilities like Social Security, it's vastly higher. We smashed through the 250% barrier years ago and kept stepping on the gas. This brings us to stage 3, the trap. This is the phase where the interest payments consume all productive energy. In 1340s Europe, the King of England owed so much to Italian bankers that the interest payments exceeded his tax revenue. He physically could not pay. In 2024, the US government spends more on interest payments than on its entire military. Think about that. We spend more paying off bondholders than we do defending the country. In this stage, the government has to make a choice. Cut spending, which causes a depression and riots. Raise taxes, which causes a recession and revolt. Print the money. Politicians, concerned only with the next election, will always choose option 3. It is the path of least resistance. It kicks the can down the road, but the road has ended. We are currently living in stage 4, the recognition. This is the psychological turning point. It's when the smart money realizes the game is rigged. In 33 AD Rome, there was a sudden panic known as the financial crisis of 33 AD. Senators realized that the land used as collateral for loans was overvalued. Lenders stopped lending. They demanded their money back immediately. But the borrowers didn't have cash. They had land that no one wanted to buy. Prices collapsed. Today, we see this in the frantic moves of central banks and billionaires. Why are central banks buying gold at record rates? Why are tech billionaires building bunkers? Why is crypto hitting all-time highs? Because the math is public. Anyone with a calculator knows that the US debt can never be repaid in real terms. It is mathematically impossible. In stage 4, the trust evaporates, and money is nothing but trust. When trust goes, the currency is just colorful paper. As the realization sets in, we enter stage 5. Social fracture. When the pie gets smaller, people stop sharing and start fighting. The social contract breaks. The left screams that the rich are hoarding wealth and demands jubilees, debt forgiveness. The right screams that the government is debasing the currency and demands austerity. Both are right, and both are wrong. In Weimar Germany, this polarization led to street battles between communists and nationalists. In revolutionary France, it led to the Third Estate walking out and forming their own government. Does this sound familiar? A polarized society? A feeling that the system is rigged? Anger at the elites? We are seeing the early tremors of stage 5 right now. Student loan forgiveness, rent controls, populist uprisings. These are the frantic attempts to glue a broken society back together. But the glue won't hold because the underlying debt is still there, rotting the foundation. And finally, the inevitable conclusion. Stage 6, the reset. The debt will be cleared. That is a guarantee. The only variable is how. History offers 3 exits, and none of them are painless. Exit. 1. Hyperinflation. This is the most common path. The government prints money to pay its bills. The debt is paid, but the money is worthless. Historical example. Weimar Germany, 1923. A loaf of bread cost 200 billion marks. Savings accounts were wiped out. The middle class became the poor overnight. The result? Creditors lose. Savers lose. Hard asset owners win. Exit. 2. The Jubilee. Default. The government simply says, "We aren't paying," or "We are erasing private debts." Historical example. The biblical Jubilee, or the collapse of the Soviet Union. The system freezes. ATMs stop working. Supply chains break. The result? Chaos for a few years, then a rebuild from zero. Exit. 3. War. The darkest timeline. When a nation cannot pay its bills, it often blames a neighbor. War resets the economic board. It destroys capital, kills creditors, and justifies total government control. Historical example. We too ended the Great Depression's debt cycle. Which path will we take? Likely a mix of exit 1 and exit 3. We are already seeing soft hyperinflation, prices rising 20%, 30%, 40%, while the government claims it's 3%. They will try to inflate the debt away over a decade, slowly boiling the frog. That's you. So you don't jump out of the pot until you're cooked. This is heavy. I know. It's terrifying to realize the ground beneath your feet is crumbling. But there is good news. In every single one of these historical resets, there were people who didn't just survive. They thrived. Wealth is never destroyed. It is merely transferred. It moves from those who hold currency to those who hold value. Here is how you position yourself for Stage 6. Get out of the zone of destruction. Cash, bonds, and savings accounts are the primary victims of Stage 6. In a reset, these are the assets that get zeroed out. Do not keep your life savings in fiat currency. Become your own central bank. Hard assets. You need assets that cannot be printed. Gold and silver, the eternal insurance policy, Rome, France, Germany, gold survived them all. Real estate, a house is a house, regardless of what the dollar is worth. But be careful, property taxes can rise. Bitcoin, this is the new variable. For the first time in history, we have a digital, unseizable, fixed supply asset. It is the life raft the Romans wish they had. Good debt versus bad debt. If inflation rips higher, fixed rate debt becomes an asset. Imagine borrowing $300,000 to buy a house, and then hyperinflation makes $300,000 the price of a cup of coffee. You pay off your house for the price of a latte, but be warned, this is a dangerous game. If you lose your income, you lose the asset. Skills and community. In the messy transition of Stage 6, your ability to fix things, grow things, and build networks is worth more than a stock portfolio. The metronome of history is ticking. Tick. Tock. Rome thought it was eternal. The French aristocracy thought they were untouchable. We think we are different. We aren't. The math doesn't care about our feelings. The debt is unpayable. The reset is coming. We are currently in the twilight of Stage 4. You have a choice. You can ignore the pattern, keep your money in the bank, and hope the politicians fix it. Or you can look at 2,000 years of history, accept the reality, and prepare your ark. The storm isn't coming. It's already raining. Subscribe to the channel. In the next video, I'm going to break down exactly which assets will perform best in a Stage 6 scenario, and why the traditional advice of a 60-40 portfolio might be the most dangerous advice of all. Don't just watch history happen. Be ready for it.